State University. They play a little different whenever they got you across from them. When you're playing the smaller schools in the state of Ohio, like the Ohio U's and the Akrons and the Toledos, no disrespect to them, but those guys had the same dreams that I had growing up in school, man, wanting to play at the Ohio State. And they feel slighted in some type of way. And they want to come out and they want to show their coaching staff for those 4 quarters, or if it is more, they want to show why you missed out on an opportunity on me. I would have loved that opportunity. So, man, you got to strap it up, man. And then when you're playing in those big games, those big TV games, man, that's a whole different feeling, man. That's a whole different feeling. You're either going to become a hero out there or you become a bum out there. That's really what it is behind doors. No sugarcoating it. And nobody wants to be out there bumming. And excuse me if I use that term wrong, you know what I mean when I'm talking in this situation. So I hold it with great pride, man, great honor, man, great respect to any and everybody who straps it up, man. Whether you're a coach there following the great legendary coaches, man, like one from who had a stay there in New Philadelphia, man. Coach Woody Hayes, man. I grew up with that to look at New Philadelphia, Ohio. So I knew what it was when I went there. Miss Ann Hayes, man. All that means something to me, man. Sorry if I got off track with all that.
No, definitely didn't get off track. But before I hand it over to Chip, and I don't hog the whole show, it kind of ties in to, I know Chip mentioned to me that we had to mention about you with your singing in Carmen, Ohio, and I told him that I'm not having you sing on the show because I'm not going to cry. So, I mean, you could just hear your voice, the way you sing it, and you sing it with that pride and that emotion. It's just, it gives you goosebumps. And, I mean, it just, there's certain things and certain traditions for Ohio State, and that's one of them. And you doing that is, it's up there with Script Ohio and everything for giving a grown man goosebumps.
Man, I appreciate that, man. And, it's amazing, man. Sometimes something that wasn't meant to turn out to be a blessing can, man. And that's really what Carmen, Ohio is, man, to me. It means so much to our university. And, the story behind it is one thing, man. But I understand the meaning and the feeling that, Ohio State alum, current, looking to be Buckeyes. I know what it means, man, to the great state of Ohio, man. So, like I told Coach Tressel that evening there on the stage, man, just give me an opportunity to do it my way. And of course, if you give me an opportunity, if you know the way I was raised, man, I'm not gonna do something disrespectful. So, I'm blessed, man. I can't believe the way it's, sort of, become a part of the tradition, man. But it does mean a lot to me. And I always think about the 2002 class. I think about everybody, man, the 13 seniors all the way down to that special freshman class led by, the great Maurice Claret. And I say that, man, no matter what nobody thinks, man, respect that. And, there's a lot of other guys on that team, man, deserve that same kind of respect. Unspoken heroes on that team. Of course, we all know our heavy hitters, but everybody played a huge role, man, on that team, man. And, those guys need their just due. And anytime I speak, I'm going to give it to them, man. So it took each and every one of us, to put our minds together. If you look back throughout that run, of the 2002 year, man, there was different guys each and every week that stepped up, that closed out, man. I always called them, man, the conclusion. Who's going to come up and conclude this thing for us, man, and wrap this up so we can move on to the next guy. And throughout the year, a couple of the same faces popped up, but if you really look hard throughout those games, man, there was different guys, man. You think of Dave Thompson in the Illinois game. Look at those sacks. Look at the way he balled out, man. And then those games, man, I'm talking about heroes like that throughout the way. And we had that. A guy like, young freshman who played the role of the Miami Hurricanes, throughout our time down out in the AZ, man, to prepare for a national championship. You don't get to see that. You don't get to hear about that. But all that plays a huge role, man, into developing a championship mentality, a championship team, a love, a brothership, a love for one another, man. Guys who realize the moment and realize that once it's over and done with, you don't get it back. And the pen is out of your hand. It is what it is. So I'm just blessed and happy to have that opportunity to play with those guys. So when I think of Carmen, Ohio, man, I could talk forever about it. So, yeah, man, Carmen, Ohio is special.
Go ahead, Chip.
Well, I all I can tell you is I was actually one of the people who braved that winter afternoon in January of 2003. As Shannon said, we're not going to have you sing on the show, but being in attendance, hearing you perform in front of the crowd at Ohio Stadium with your teammates, I mean, that was a truly special moment. You just talked about the brotherhood that you had, a memory that as you were talking about the relationships that you realize that once it's over, you're never going to have that same kind of relationship again. I remember Andy Groom weeping on the stage with you and your teammates. I mean, can you just kind of take us through, like, I'm sure that you were nervous singing in front of the crowd, but can you kind of at least tell us kind of what went through your mind as you were singing on the stage, singing Carmen, Ohio in Ohio Stadium?
Man, yeah, I'll hold that question real quick, man. Okay. I'm going to jump off base real quick, man. You mentioned the guy, Andy Groom. You mentioned Andy Groom, man. And,
the punter.
And the punter, but listen, man, you mentioned him as the punter, as weeping, and I think there's.
Oh, that's not meant that I'm not. No. I'm
not assuming, man, that you are, but I think of that because when I watch the video, I look at that quite often. I mean, it is something that it draws my attention. It's something that draws anyone's attention, and I wasn't saying that you were mocking him. I know it jumps out at me, man, but Andy. A lot of people don't know this, man. I hope Andy doesn't get mad at me for saying this, man. But Andy Groom and I had a special bond. And you may not always catch us hanging out. You may not always catch us together. But Andy and I had and still do have a special bond, man. We have since day one, since coming in 1998. I always talk to my son, man. I let his AAU coaches, I let his current football, basketball, track, whatever it is we're going to do. And same thing with my daughters, know that, the coaches can work on their skill, man, but you have to have a certain mindset. You have to have a certain mindset. And I look at these kids today, man, and nothing against them. I think you have to move with the time. But when Andy and I came into Ohio State, we were split up in locker rooms, man. And whenever we had the home games, certain guys would be in one locker room, man, and then we'd be off to the left in that locker room somewhere, man, like wondering what our life was going to be like, wondering if we could get in there. So, like, we started off basically at the bottom of the barrel, and we really had to prove ourselves. There was no damn red carpet for us. From day one, man, they was on us, and we had to put up or shut up, man. So I think, as my mother would always say, cream always rises to the top, man. And Andy Groom's story, anybody wants to talk to him about his story, about how I feel he's one of the greatest punters to grace the Ohio State, but his story is even better as a man and his walk through Ohio State, because we always talk about the glitz and glamour about Ohio State, but man, there's a true grind too, and everybody goes through it. And when those certain guys pop up in situations that they're not supposed to be in, and then not only do they pop up, but they pop up to be great, man. They become household names like Andy Groom. Like, man, I love that guy. And so when you get to the final, when it is your last day to wear that block O before you become a professional or wherever you decide to go in life, and you hit all them goals and you know where you started at the bottom, man, if you don't cry, I don't know what you was putting in. You didn't put the blood, sweat, and tears in. You know what I mean? It was a beautiful day to win that thing, man. But everybody has their own walk, man. And Andy's is awesome, man. You know, for him, when I go through and see him on the wall as an All-American, I laugh. They're always like, "Yo, what are you laughing at, man?" I'm like, "Yo, man, this guy right here is special, man. No matter where we go in life, man, Andy is just special, man. Just to see a guy stick with it, man, as a walk-on, and then earn a spot, and then demand the spot, and then become a guy who that 2002 defense counted on so great. I always think of the Wisconsin game where I think he kicked like a 75-yard punt just to change the field position, man. And man, just so much respect for Andy Brown. But
so that kind of it was. I think I'm still thawing out. I don't know about you. It was pretty cold that day.
Yeah, man, it was cold, man. There was a lot going through my mind. I believe it was 1968 was the last time that the Ohio State had won a championship. And again, you think of, man, it's special, man, because, again, I told you about Coach Woody Hayes and the New Philadelphia connection, man. But there was a field goal kicker in that game, Jim Roman. And, I believe they played SC. If I'm wrong on my history, please forgive me. But
no, you're right.
The kicker. Yeah, man, he was the kicker on that team. I believe he outscored their running back, and he was he was the coach on my high school team, man, Coach Roman, man. So whenever you think of that 68 team, man, I'm looking back like, all right, I know people personally off this team or know of people. I didn't have the honor to meet Coach Hayes, but I knew Coach Roman, man. I knew of Coach Hayes. So when you're looking at that, man, and you're from a area to where guys just don't come out each and every day, man, we have great talent in the Philadelphia and Tuscarawas County area, but we haven't had those numbers, man, who've been able to represent, on a consistent basis, let's say, at the Ohio State, because we've had our share of guys who have represented and girls who have represented for our hometown area. But, when you're in that moment, man, and you have a chance to go through, you really want to go after it, man. And so whenever we were able to win that, man, and close that gap, so now you look at the 2002 team, or you look at the last team that won it, man, that's what it's about, man. That's how you build tradition. That's how you give these kids something to dream about. I was telling you, we've been in Pennsylvania, 10 years. And of course, what I do for a living, I travel all over, but I call Pennsylvania home base. I look at my kids, man. I look at what the Ohio State means. Now, we're in the middle of Penn State and Pitt country. My wife is a Pitt alum, Pitt Panther, man. But the way these kids have gravitated towards the Ohio State, I mean, they've worn the Braxton Miller jerseys, man. They've worn the Zeke Elliott's, man. They worn it all, man. And they get heckled by these kids and stuff who are Penn State fans, man. I love it, man, because that's what you are when you're a Buckeye, man. Nobody likes us but us. So let's just be honest. Nobody likes us but us. And so it's up to us to take care of our own and continue to build our tradition as great as we can build it up to be, man. So that's what it's about.
So in preparation for tonight, I reread your excerpt in What It Means to Be a Buckeye. And, you were talking about your coach and you referenced New Philadelphia. I mean, it's well after the fact, but in your excerpt, you said during the recruiting process that you had heard from that team up north in Michigan State. So I guess just between us, I mean, was it pretty much as soon as you got the Ohio State offer, like it was a done deal? Like how close were you in comparison, considering those other schools?
Well, here, I'll let you in on a secret, man. I was really, really close. I still to this day, man, have to shout out Coach Nick Saban and the Michigan State program back in those days, man, because I would have never made it, man, without them. And I hope this isn't wrong what I'm saying. If it is, whatever. I'm not worried about it. But my family and I, my mom and my dad had a chance to go up and visit Michigan State. And to see Coach Saban at the time, and, you know, Coach Saban went in his office, and I got my mom and dad beside me, and he's like, listen, man, you could be this, you could be that. And at the end of the day,